Thank you, Jayant. It was a wonderful session, and I want to pick up something from there. You spoke about net zero being net positive, and you spoke about how the kind of massive wealth creation that's possible. A lot of CEOs I've spoken to are hesitant to look at sustainability in any meaningful manner, primarily because they think it's going to deplete profitability. So if you can unpack that massive wealth creation aspect for us, it'll be wonderful.
Well, I think if CEOs are telling you that they can't make money on going green, then they're not thinking about it the right way. We already know, for example, that even if you look at round-the-clock solar, if you're getting electricity from round-the-clock solar, it's cheaper than buying electricity off the grid at, let's say, 8, 9, 10 rupees per unit, or using a diesel generator and running it at 15 or 16 rupees a unit, compared to round-the-clock solar now, which is at 5 or 6 rupees a unit. So energy, electricity, which every business uses, already is cheaper if you use green technologies. Similarly, if you look at electric vehicles, so if you're using a truck or a bus or even a car or a scooter that's running on electricity as opposed to petrol or diesel, that's already cheaper and more cost effective compared to using petrol or diesel. So again, you're saving money here. So if you look across your business, you'll find many opportunities where these green technologies now are more cost effective. They literally are green in terms of the color of money as well. Not just green in terms of sustainability. And that's why the opportunity to make money, if you invest in these green technologies, is enormous. And that's why when I talk about India's growth story, I say that India's growth story is going to be a green growth story. And the beauty of net zero is net positive, is that it's net positive on so many dimensions. We've already talked about making more money. We've already talked about profitability. But if you move towards these green technologies, electric vehicles, solar power, more efficient usage of energy, what you're doing is you're also reducing air pollution, which of course from a health perspective is a very big problem for us. So you're reducing air pollution. You're also reducing our dependency on foreign sources of energy, because we have to largely import 80-90% of our fossil fuels. So that's making us more secure, more resilient as a nation as well. So when I say net zero is net positive, it's net positive not just in terms of making money, also in terms of health and air pollution, also in terms of self-sufficiency and energy security as well. So net zero is net positive across all those different parameters.
Wonderful. You're an expert in this. So do you think there are reforms our capital markets could bring in that might help usher this in much faster?
So it's already happening. And as far as the government is concerned, and of course governments around the world are concerned, they've taken a number of important steps already to motivate investment in these green technologies. Now what we have to do is we have to just recognize how big the opportunity is and actually make it happen, and do that in every sector of the economy, which is effectively what I was pointing out during my speech as well. So there are ways in which we can accelerate it, and we do need to accelerate it. And that's where what is called blended finance comes in. So blended finance is really how you put together a certain amount of concessional capital, which may be lower interest loans, which may be equity with some kinds of guarantees and protections, which is called junior equity, for example. So it's being able to take some of the risk out of the equation, provide somewhat lower cost money, but use that to actually motivate the trillions of dollars of commercial capital. So government's budgets are always limited, right? Philanthropic money is very scarce. So we want to use that in a way so we get the biggest bang for the buck. And that's what blended finance enables us to do. By structuring these instruments the correct way, a small amount of concessional or government money can go a very long way.
Right. You also spoke, and this is my last question, but you also spoke about the role that the global north can play in unlocking a lot of this. But what I'd like you to sort of maybe reflect on is how should the global south respond to this, right? What do we need to be better prepared with? What should we be doing as well to be more self-reliant?
So first and foremost, we need to understand that this is important for everybody in the world, right? So everybody is complaining about the weather, it's too hot, or there are floods, or there is a heat wave, but you have to connect the dots. You have to understand, why is the climate changing? Why is that year after year we're hearing more about floods, more about heat waves, etc.? And we have to understand that this is something we can do something about. So first step is understanding. Second step is to embrace the technologies that actually drive sustainability, like solar, like battery storage, like electric vehicles and so on. And third, we have to make it work. We have to actually invest and we've got to drive growth and job creation that way. Now, as I've said also in my talk, it's a win-win-win. It's a win for the global south, that is for India, because as I said, drives profitability, job creation, GDP growth, energy security, cleaner air. So all those are things that are a great win for India. It's a win for the north as well, because their money is coming, or their technologies are coming to us. They're getting big returns on their money, their technology is being purchased. So it's a win for them. But most importantly, it's a win for the planet, because we're reducing the emissions of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. It's slowing global warming, and it's making the world greener and better for us and for our children.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
Take care.
Pleasure.